Welcome to my black screen because my camera is not enabled for some reason. Give me 1 second. I'll get that fixed. All right, there we go. There we go. There we go. You see this beautiful mug. We're good now. So, just a quick cliff note. My daughter shamed me for shaving my beard, and now I feel ugly. I said in my wife, I told my wife, I was like, my daughter said I'm ugly. So anyway, we're gonna continue to cover the Charlie Kirk situation because there's just some news I wasn't able to cover yesterday that I want to kind of get you guys spun up on. Most of you are probably aware. I think the whole world is watching this story very, very closely. So we will cover kind of now we had one of the most amazing press conferences I've ever seen from the governor of Utah. So that was awesome. So we'll cover his press conference. We'll also talk about now what we know about this individual. And we'll also cover Erika Kirks' speech because it's probably one of the most moving speeches I've seen in a real long time. And I do think it's well worth talking about. So we'll cover all that and more. Now, before I dive into anything, if you like this, please like, share, subscribe, do all those things. That really helps me out. If you're on Rumble, repost all that. I'd appreciate it. And I do thank you guys for tuning in on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, everywhere. I appreciate you guys. X, if you comment on X, by the way, that's the only place I cannot see your comments. So it would behoove you to go to a different platform so I could see your comments. All right. All right. So I guess we'll start with the fact that yesterday we did finally find out that that they got the guy that did this. And I would like to say that all of our suspicions are true. So don't let the left gaslight you into thinking this was some far right extremist. This wasn't. This was absolutely 100% a leftist that was radicalized online, despite actually coming from a Republican household. So we'll play a little bit of the press conference and cover some of the topics that were some of what we learned in this press conference. So we'll kind of lead with that, and then we will pivot over to Erika Kirk's statement because if you haven't listened, it is well worth it. So we will talk. We'll cover both. So let's get this up. Gotta get my windows open. I'm a mess. I'm a mess right now. All right, let's see. This is it. Okie dokie. Here we go. Okay. All right, we'll cover the main points after we actually play the video. So, boom. That's awesome. Oh, no video or audio. Hold on a second. Thank you, Lady Midnight. I appreciate that. What is going on? Why didn't it capture the audio? Let's see here. What's going on? No, it's probably just not picking it up. Thank you. Because... All right. Tell me if this makes a difference. We'll play it back real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. On the evening of September 11th,
Good, bad.
a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University.
Much better. Okay, thank you.
This information was also conveyed to the FBI.
And I appreciate
investigators reviewed
You're
additional
awesome.
video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson.
We are now learning that this roommate was romantically involved with Robinson, I believe. We'll get clarification on this, and that they were trans. So that explains some of the etchings on the casings that he'll cover.
Made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including...
Now, something that's interesting that I don't know what to make of, Discord is denying the fact that Robinson used their platform. Hey, KMD, what's going on, man? Yeah, Discord is denying 5-year probation for Tyler. Doubt. Hopefully the death penalty as soon as possible.
Content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there's been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus.
Hold on, I want to pause this for a second.
Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle.
Something I want to pull up that I do think is relevant to those casings, but I just gotta I just gotta find it real quick. I gotta find it in my bookmarks. He was communicating with someone. Yeah, that much is very clear to me, is that there is definitely more people involved. And I uh I do think there was more people involved than we understand. So yeah, I do think somebody else was involved. Ooh, hold on a second. Why is that doing that? That should not be doing that. Give me 1 second. Sorry guys. It did not change the scene for some reason. Oh, I know why it didn't. Oh man, TikTok, you've been getting the short end of the stick today. Give me 1 second here. There we go. Now you can see. Now you can see me. There we go. We're good. Whoops. Sorry guys. We're good now. I went live yesterday and I had to like adjust some of my scenes. So I got to get them sorted out. But anyway, I want to look up this one thing that I think was particularly relevant for this discussion, about the use of the word fascist, because it's that's going to come up, and I just want you to see a real example of just how much the leftists use the word fascist to describe their enemies, because I do think it's going to be relevant to this conversation, but I gotta find it real quick. Still nothing. Dang, man. I might not be able to find it. We'll see. Fascist. Fascist. Let's find it. Bear with me here. Fascist is so overused. Yeah, it is. It's ridiculously overused. Basically everybody's a fascist. Listen to over 5 minutes of the mainstream media calling. Okay, bingo. I think this is it.
Does feel and
Wow.
our
Yeah, I think I found it. I think I found what I'm looking for. I just want to make sure there's not another media. But I just want you to see a real example of how often they do this, because they do it all the time, constantly. They refer to us as fascists. And, I don't think that's an accident. So, okay, we're going to get back to the press conference, and then we'll play that other video. Okie dokie, Smokey, we are good to go. All right, here we go.
Wrapped in a dark colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulges, capital OWO, what's this question mark?"
It's a trans reference.
Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who's worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing.
He does go on later to give a really, honestly, a great speech. I had no idea who this guy was, but I hope to see him more involved in politics now, and kind of grow, because the way that he handled this situation, his speech, the way he talked and communicated was very, very effective. So let's play that video that I was referencing because I do think it's important. So one of the bullets was inscribed that said, "Hey fascist, catch this." So that is what one of the bullets said. All right. So, and that's, I've been called a fascist. Anybody that's been in conservative media for any amount of time has been called a fascist. You know, it's just, you get called fascist for anything. You say something that hurts their tummies, they call you a fascist, you know, or they'll call you a transphobe or a homophobe or a xenophobe or a sexist or a misogynist or any of these things. And the truth is, these words actually don't really mean anything. Well, I used to think that. And now I think, well, maybe they're just used now to put a target on your head, like a dog whistle, which is a little scary, a little disconcerting. But let's see how often the media actually does this, because they do it quite a bit, and I do think it's worth taking note of. So this is a compilation of them calling people fascist.
That MAGA symbol has come to represent something. It is the new Nazi symbol. It is the new hood.
Because they're not a party, right? They're Sinn Féin.
So the MAGA symbol, MAGA, anybody that's associated with the Republican Party at this point, they view as Nazis. Now, we all recognize that Nazis are evil and that they committed untold atrocities on the world, and they are a universally accepted symbol of evil. So what do you think the intent is when they are labeling their opponents who aren't actual Nazis, Nazis? What do you think they're trying to stoke in their base? Fear, and if your opponents are really Nazis, and if you can get people to believe that, well, what would you do to stop a Nazi? Oh, well, you could justify doing almost anything. They're trying to cause hatred. Yeah, they are. They absolutely are.
To the IRA, they're the PLO to Hamas. They're a dime store front for a terrorist movement.
The Republican Party is basically a domestic terrorist cell at this point, and they should be treated as such.
There are elements of the GOP that are starting to look like the jihadists.
Not a political party. They're a white nationalist movement. They're a fascist threat to our nation.
Oh,
that's not hyperbolic. That's academic.
Would have once seemed hyperbolic, but it increasingly does feel like the Republican Party has become a death cult, and it's all about Donald Trump.
There is no alternative right now because the Republican Party project today is a fascist authoritarian project.
Fact is, Republicans in Congress are still in the grip of the ultra MAGA agenda.
Party of dupes, party of knuckleheads, party of weirdos, party of freaks. So that is a simple message. And underneath that, it's the party of nothing.
It has become an authoritarian embracing cult. It is fascist.
We take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And sadly, the domestic enemies to our voting system and our honoring our Constitution are.
They don't feel that way now with what's happening in Maryland and Chicago. Trump using the military force to enforce the law. They suddenly feel they're singing a different tune when it comes to that. Anyway.
Right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue with their allies in the Congress of the United States.
Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture.
Foreign torture chambers. We're sending them to Alligator Alcatraz because they are illegally entering our country. It's like common sense. Like that's yes. You're not here illegally. Goodbye. Adios.
Dungeons. No chance to mount a defense. Not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye. Just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and
The old films of the Gestapo grabbing people off the streets of Poland, and you compare them to those nondescript thugs who grabbed that student, that graduated student. It does look like a Gestapo operation. You know, my dad served in Second World War. He fought the Nazis in Northern Africa. He fought the Nazis on the Italian peninsula. And I think he's looking down right now.
That is a good point, Tara. Yeah, I do think they are supportive of illegal immigration because they want slave labor. That's why they're always panicking, like, who's going to pick our fruit? What about all the farm work? What about all the what's going to happen? Yeah, it's because they want to use illegal immigrants for basically slave labor, and they're big mad that they're losing that, and they also want to use them to harvest votes. But that's also coming to an end too. Oh, please, the right has been calling the left communist and so because they actually, I mean, they literally are. You know, like AOC identifies as a democratic socialist. So does Bernie Sanders. What are you talking about? Like that's by their own admission. They admit to it.
And he's happy that I'm fighting today's Nazis.
Because if we just roll this clock on the wall back 75 years, we'd be looking at a time in Nazi Germany where people ran around with signs like this new ICE sign that says, report all foreign invaders to ICE.
Yeah,
with Uncle Sam
great.
there
I like that.
holding up the sign. This could have been a Gestapo member 75 years ago. Report all Jews.
It's not just that Donald Trump poses a threat to democracy. It's a Donald
they can't help themselves. They can't help but try to compare us for just wanting law and order. That's it. To fascist. We're fascist because we want the laws to be enforced. Make it make sense.
Trump only cares about himself. This is a populist looking to serve his own interest and harm other people and dismantle our democracy and make it just about himself. This is a guy who's doing it on behalf of Putin.
Do you think Trump cares about any of his supporters?
I think he's only ever cared about himself.
He's still a greasy pig.
He's still a greasy pig.
He said that a hallmark of strongman leaders is they don't care about their followers. Loathes Donald Trump. Things like a lunatic and a criminal, someone corrupt who's bankrupted people. That the goal for all of us to save our republic has to be to keep Donald Trump far away, make sure he never gets anywhere near the Oval Office again.
The threat that Donald Trump is to this nation.
Cult of authoritarian personality in league with autocrats and kleptocrats and dictators all over the world. Everybody has to follow Donald Trump like a monarch. That's what the election is going to be about. Democracy and freedom versus dictatorship and authoritarianism.
We want to remain a democracy, or do we want to take this hard turn into an autocracy and taking direct aim at our democracy? There are autocratic-leaning remarks he has made in recent weeks and months, such as ones that echo Hitler.
Extreme measures taken.
Echo Hitler. Yeah, see? They just keep doing it. They literally cannot help themselves. Hold on a second. I got to get my wife to turn down the air because I'm melting. It gets super hot in this room, guys.
To fundamentally change the course of the country, or we're all going to die. Trying to get rid of the form of government that we have and install something else.
To the degree that the country's in any decline, it is the threat of a second Trump term. America becoming a threat, which is what it becomes, a threat to the world order if Trump is reelected, is a known, to quote Don Rumsfeld. America can survive one Trump term. It won't survive a second.
It was a primary, didn't work out to oust Donald Trump.
Donald Trump has been in office for almost a year now, and I think we're doing just fine, and the recent violence is actually coming from the left, believe it or not.
There was a chance for leaders like Mitch McConnell to literally have Donald Trump barred from ever holding federal office again. They didn't do it. The Republican Party will not save us here. We cannot wait for the Republican Party to wake up. Nothing is going to happen inside the Republican Party other than efforts to get Donald Trump what he wants, which is to get rid of our form of government. The only way the country gets saved is if Republicans, our project of the Republican Party is to install a strongman form of government in the United States and get rid of democracy. And that is the project of electing Donald Trump. What we've learned from history is that, no, there isn't a magic bullet. The courts don't save you.
These people say they talk about us wanting to end democracy, but if they had full power, they would rule with an iron fist, without a doubt. I mean, these are the same people that were locking up pro-lifers for peacefully protesting the unaliving of little babies. They were throwing pro-lifers in prison for opposing what they were doing. So
no individual institution saves you, all that stuff. Hitler in 1933 was talking about his designs on America. And Hitler described you could get Americans to give up their own democracy and to be ready for a fascist takeover.
Haunting.
And that's what Hitler himself explained. He part of the Hitlerian conspiracy for Americans getting rid of their democracy. And this stuff doesn't change. It's the same playbook. It's a disaster. We need extreme measures. I mean, it's just that simple.
Adam Kinzinger was just tweeting about Trump's speech. He said he'll be gone in a year. But what do you do about all the people that are now conditioned to have an appetite and hunger for
These people
Donald Trump was mulling whether our national abortion ban was going to be 15 weeks or 16
He's looking for a number he likes.
He likes
Like 16 because it's
sounds round. Some of the most fundamental decisions you will ever make in your life, with massive relational consequences, massive consequences, intergenerational consequences for your family, huge economic consequences. The basic freedoms of your life should be decided by Donald Trump deciding which number he thinks looks prettier.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think he went far enough with that, to be honest with you, because, I think it should just be banned at, conception, because that's a life. But, what do I know? Anyway, the point is that these people call us fascist, Nazis, authoritarian. They use these labels against us, and then you have people like Tyler Robinson, who writes on his bullet, "Hey, fascist, catch." Maybe, just maybe, he bought into that ideology. Maybe he really believed we were fascist, and he acted on it. So now it makes me think, well, maybe them labeling us that is them trying to put a target on our backs. What am I supposed to think? And if I was living in a world where there were actual fascists, actual people trying to, basically destroy my life and enslave me and take power and rule brutally, I mean, what they would feel completely justified in stopping those people by any means necessary. And maybe this is what this kid did, So when they want to talk about rhetoric, and I rightly identified that people like Charlie were trying to engage in free speech and have open conversation. Then I pointed out that the left is literally trying to unalive us. And some people responded to that by telling me that I need to tone it down. I need to tone it down by identifying what you guys are doing. I need to tone it down. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think I will bring attention to what you are doing, because it needs to be looked at. You need to deal with the violence in your own party. And now that we found out that this guy is involved, Tyler Robinson's boyfriend or girlfriend, I don't even know, is transgender, and well, it explains a little bit more. We've been seeing a rise in this trans violence over the past couple of weeks, actually, just, in Minnesota, 2 kids lost their lives, and that person was explicitly trans, and they were godless. They wrote on their casings, "Where is your God?" or their cartridges, "Where is your God?" So, and then we had last year, or 2023, we had the Tennessee shooting where Audrey Hale, another trans-identified individual, gunned down 6 people, 3 of those people being children. And then, you see a pattern of behavior, and you can't help but think, like, maybe there's something going on here, but they won't denounce any of that. They won't, they'll look the other way, not give that any mind, and then label us fascists for noticing. It's insane. It is insane. So that's MSNBC being MSNBC. And just to recap some of these posts from Tyler, because we're gonna come back to this in a little bit in a write-up that the Daily Wire did, kind of giving more detail on him. So this is what it was wrote. Again, the casings also had messages engraved saying, "Hey, fascist, catch. If you read this, you are gay. LMAO. Notice his bulge. Ooh, what's this? Bella Ciao, which I guess apparently is a anti-fascist anthem that they use. And the Notice Bulge is a trans reference, which makes sense knowing that this guy was romantically involved with a transgender individual. I don't even like saying romantically involved in a perverse relationship with a transgender individual. We'll just put it that way, because like romantic makes it sound good, like a positive, but it's really not a positive. It's a negative. So I'll adjust my language. All right. So I do want to take the time to play this video by Erika Kirk because it is probably one of the most moving things I've seen in a long time. This speech, if you watch this speech and your heart doesn't break for this woman, you're not a human being. You don't have a soul, because you can feel the pain, but you can also feel the fire and the boldness and spirit of God upon this woman. And that's one of the things that's most noticeable to me in this speech. And you get a real rich sense of the type of man that Charlie Kirk was based on how his wife talks about him. So, if any of you guys like me are upset about people speaking negatively about Kirk, their opinions don't matter. They really don't. The people that are calling him a fascist, the people that are calling him, the banality of evil, their opinions don't actually matter. What matters are, one, the opinions of the people who know him personally. Their opinions matter. What they think of him matters. And the opinions you draw based on your own conclusions after watching his content and interacting with his content in context too, by the way, because they'll take a lot of the stuff that he says out of context. I've seen that repeatedly happen where they take his words out of context. So, for example, they claim that Charlie Kirk is racist because he would question the qualifications of a black pilot. And they say, see, evidence that Kirk is racist. No, Kirk is not racist, actually. He made that statement because DEI causes your average person to doubt the qualifications of the people that they hire because they have quotas and they're no longer hiring the best person for the job. They're hiring somebody based on the color of their skin. And if the races were flipped, I'm sure anybody would be asking the same question. If white people were simply being hired because they were white and they were not the best people for the job, I suddenly would be like, I don't know if I feel comfortable with a white pilot. I'm just going to be honest with you, because I don't know. That's what DA does. You don't know if they got in there because they are the most qualified. That's a perfectly rational conclusion to come to, but they'll gaslight you and make it seem like you're racist for coming to it. For a problem they actually caused. You caused that. If you actually hired people based on merit and merit alone, if I saw a black pilot, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. I'd be fine with it. It'd be great. I want the best of the best, and if the best of the best tomorrow, let's just say tomorrow overnight, the best of the best for all black pilots, let's do it. Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'd be completely okay, and it's not because I'm racist. It's because I want the best. When I'm putting and entrusting these people to make sure that they fly that plane and they fly it well, I'm entrusting them with my life. So I want the most competent person possible piloting that plane. And we should all want that. We should all want that. So that's where that stupid claim comes from. So anyway, let's play this. If you don't have napkins or tissues, get them. You're definitely going to need it. Let's see, when does she show up?
Good evening. My name is Erika Kirk. Charlie Kirk is my husband. I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically to save Charles's life, and the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family these past 2 days. And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board, the COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy, for all their work in these terrible days to be the stability for our family and for the wider Turning Point USA family as well. My heart is with every one of my husband's employees who lost a friend and a mentor. I want to thank the staffers of his amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from this studio, this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did. I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie here in Phoenix, across America, and worldwide. I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well, bringing him home.
JD Vance too, the way that he handled this and his statement, we'll read that too, because his statement was beautiful. I mean, just simply beautiful. Just a good man.
You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same.
They are.
Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing. You supported him so well, as did he for you. 2 days ago, my husband, Charlie, went to see the face of his Savior and his God. Charlie always said that when he was gone, he wanted to be remembered for his courage and for his faith. And one of the final conversations that he had on this earth, my husband witnessed for his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Incredible. I got chills, man.
Now and for all eternity, he will stand at his Savior's side, wearing the glorious crown of a martyr. Charlie loved life. He loved his life. He loved America. He loved nature, which helped him always bring him closer to God. He loved the Chicago Cubs. And my goodness, did he love the Oregon Ducks. He'd want me to say go Ducks, so I have to since they play on Saturday. So go Ducks. But most of all, Charlie loved his children, and he loved me with all of his heart, and I knew that. Every day I knew that. He made sure I knew that every day. Every day he would ask me, how can I serve you better? How can I be a better husband? How can I be a better father? Every day. Every day. He was such a good man. He still is a good man. He was.
Do you have people that, say he wasn't a good man, but I'm just not convinced? There's nothing that you could do to convince me that this guy was not the real deal. He did love his family, and that is evident. And he did love his country, and he did love free speech. And he did love our Lord and Savior. And he lived his life in accordance with that. And that is a beautiful thing.
The perfect father. He was the perfect husband. Charlie always believed that God's design for marriage and the family was absolutely amazing, and it is.
Yeah.
It is, and it was the greatest joy of his life. And over, he would tell all these young people to come and find their future.
This is his wife speaking. This is her basically giving her statement, and it's been just beautiful.
Spouse become wives and husbands and parents. And the reason why is because he wanted you all to experience what he had and still has. He wanted everyone to bring heaven into this earth through love and joy that comes from raising a family. It's beautiful.
As somebody that is married, and I've been married tomorrow 11 years, and I have 2 beautiful little girls and another baby on the way, I can tell you that family is one of the most profound things that you can ever experience in this life. Getting married and having children is one of those things that will change you for the better, that will enrich your life in a way that you never thought imaginable, that will have you confront your own selfishness and have you improve for the better, and will just be a richness that cannot be found in anything else. I mean, it's just the greatest thing that I've ever done. And thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. It is truly the most rewarding thing in my life. Since I was 8 years old, I wanted to get married. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to get married. It was something that I always wanted. And when I met my wife, it wasn't even that long before both of us knew, like, oh yeah, like, we're gonna get married. Like, this is it. And we've been married, 11 years, and it's been beautiful. So 10 out of 10, recommend marriage. Couldn't recommend it more.
Charlie always said that if he ever ran for office, I know a lot of you asked if he ever was going to, but privately he told me if he ever did run for office that his top priority would be to revive the American family.
I would have voted for him for that alone.
One of Charlie's favorite Bible verses was Ephesians 5, verse 25. Husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. My husband laid down his life for me, for our nation, for our children. He showed the ultimate and true covenantal love. I will never, ever have the words to describe the loss that I feel in my heart. I honestly have no idea what any of this means. I know that God does, but I don't. But Charlie, baby, I know you do too. I know you do. So does our Lord. And our world is filled with evil. But our God, you guys, our God is so good.
He is.
He's so incredibly good.
And it's profound hearing that from this woman who lost her husband. And she still has the strength to get up there and say, God is good. That's because she knows a deep, deep truth that despite the tragedy that happened, that God is always good. He always does the right thing, and he works all things together for the good of those who love him.
And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Already I have seen the worldwide outpouring of love for my husband. I've heard the testimonies from people my husband inspired to get married, to start families, to seek out a relationship with God. It's the most important one of all. The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done.
Man, I don't know if you felt that, man. That glare. That is a woman that is a force to be reckoned with. That is a woman that is determined to honor her husband's legacy. That is a woman that is determined to see justice brought against these people.
They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. In this world, you have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
Yo.
To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever.
Yeah.
My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment.
Yeah, we are all standing with her.
And one of Charlie's greatest talents was his ability, this phenomenal ability to choose great people to follow him. He could always find the ones who could handle any setback. And it's almost like he knew. He could see it in you. Even when you couldn't see it in yourself, he just knew. He knew you could handle it. You thought you only had 5% left, and he knew you had 15. He knew you were ready to go that extra mile even when you didn't. He always challenged people around him to work harder and to be better. He never gave up. And I love knowing that one of his mottos was never surrender.
Never surrender.
So I want to tell you that we'll never surrender. We never will. Ever. Ever. Our campus tour this fall will continue.
Yeah.
There will be even more tours in the years to come. America Fest here in Phoenix this December will go on. It will be greater than ever. The radio and podcast show that he was so proud of will go on. And in a world filled with chaos, doubt, and uncertainty, my husband's voice will remain.
Yes.
And it will ring out louder and more clearly than ever. And his wisdom will endure. My favorite too, but my husband's favorite word in the English language was earn. He would call all of you to be people of action who earn the future America deserves.
And we have to.
So to all of the young people,
we have to. We have to for the sake of our children. We have to, for the sake of being able to live in a free and an open society, because there are powers out there, principalities, rulers of darkness, that seek to stomp out hope, who seek to kill, steal, kill, and destroy. And we cannot let them. We cannot let them intimidate us. We cannot let them rob us of our joy. We cannot let them stop us from going boldly and declaring Christ's name above every name. We cannot let them. We cannot let them scare us into submission. It cannot happen.
Who felt inspired by my husband's faith and hard work. All of you already know what Charlie would want you to do.
Yeah, we
You know. If you're in high school or if you're in college, go find your local Turning Point USA chapter. Join it. Stay involved. He wants you to make a difference. And you can. You can. The movement's not going anywhere, and it will only grow stronger when you join it. If there isn't a chapter, you can't find one, then start one. There is no excuse. You can start one. And as my husband used to say in this room, every single day, if you want to get involved, the best way you can do that is going to tpusa.com. That's what he would say every day from this chair. Every single day. I watched his show every day, and he would always say, if you want to get involved, go to tpusa.com.
Yeah. Do it. Honestly, do it.
If you're a
do it. Get involved.
pastor, join our movement at TPUSA Faith. And if you're a parent, I highly recommend that you come to America Fest in December. Sign up right now for that because we would love to see you. I would love to see you. Charlie would. He'll be there. He'll be there in spirit. Bring your kids, bring your family. But most important of all, if you aren't a member of a church, I beg you to join one. A Bible-believing church. Our battle is not simply a political one. Above all, it is spiritual.
Yeah.
It is spiritual. The spiritual warfare is palpable. Charlie loved his Savior with all of his heart, and he wanted every one of you to know him too. He wanted everyone to know that if they confess the Lord Jesus Christ who rose from the dead, then they will be saved. Hear me when I say this, nobody is ever too young to know the gospel. Nobody. Nobody is ever too young to get involved with saving this beautiful country, this country my husband loved and still loves. And nobody is ever too old either. There's no age limit. I know my husband is still here. He's watching over us. I don't remember the last time I slept. I couldn't sleep last night. And Charlie, baby. Charlie, I promise I will never let your legacy die, baby. I won't. I promise I'll make Turning Point USA the biggest thing that this nation has ever seen. I promise. Charlie, I love you. I love you, baby. Rest in the arms of our Lord as he blankets you with the words I know your heart always strived to hear. Well done, my good and faithful servant. When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, Mommy, I missed you. I said, I miss you too, baby. She goes, where's Daddy? What are you telling a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget.
I cannot freaking imagine, yo. Like, I cannot imagine being in that situation. Just absolutely heartbreaking. And, I have 2 little girls, I could not imagine it. And this is what these people took from her. And took from these little girls, man. It's just horrible.
My goodness, am I so humbled to witness, Charlie, you alongside Jesus right now, doing what you always want to do, baby. Making heaven crowded, right? That's what it's all about. Making heaven crowded. I can't wait to see you again one day. Thank you all again who love my husband, who supported him, who wrote him an email every single day during his radio show. He read all of them. All of them. God bless you all. And may God bless America.
Man, that, again, I said at the very beginning, if that doesn't move you, I don't know what will, man. That is, and you could see her love for her husband, and you can recognize very clearly what a difference this man made. And he made such a difference, man. He made a difference. I have talked to dozens of people, about this, and everybody feels the same way. Even though they didn't know Charlie personally, and some people didn't even watch Charlie that much, you feel like you lost a friend. That's what it feels like. I feel like I lost someone I know. And I think part of it is because he is a believer. He is a fellow Christian. He is part of one body. They shot part of our body. They took out one of us. And that I think that's part of the reason that it feels so painful. I also think, though, that because of his love for Jesus, because of the man that he was, that has motivated people like myself to be more outspoken, to be more bold, and to double down on every single thing that we believe. To stand firm, to run our race, knowing full well what that could mean, knowing full well that our enemies are not taking a day off. So neither should we. We should do everything in our power to stand up for what is right and to fight for this country, fight for our faith, and fight to make this world a better place for our children. And that's what I want to do, man. That is my chief aim in life. And something like this just reminds me of the mission, reminds me of why I'm here, reminds me of my purpose. And I'm going to go after it. I'm going to use this tiny platform that God has given me to glorify God's name above every name. I will decrease, he will increase. He will get all the glory because he alone deserves all the glory. I will remind people as often as I can that his love can change your life for the better. That if you're far from him, you don't have to be, because the Father's heart is open wide and you are welcome to come in. You can have a relationship with Jesus. You can come to know him. You can experience a profound love that will change everything about your life. Doesn't mean that you're going to be promised Rainbows and butterflies. It doesn't mean life is going to be easy. But you'll be able to bear whatever comes your way because you will have a God that strengthens you at your weakest moments and fights your battles on your behalf. All you need to do is be still. And that is something that I think we should all do if we're believers. Encourage other people. Be more bold. Trust the Lord with our lives. Follow the example set to us by the great Christian missionaries and martyrs throughout history. They understood what death meant. They understood that it was not the end, but just the beginning. And they understood, too, even what their blood meant. And Erika Kirk was right. They have no idea what they've done. They have no idea the fire they started. And I'm seeing God's people rising up. Each in our respective place in this world, we are rising up. We hear his voice. We see the blood of Charlie crying out. And we are ready for action. We are ready to do whatever we need to do peacefully, by the way. We're not violent. We know that our greatest weapon is not a physical sword, but the sword of the Word of God, the sword of the Holy Spirit. And we will use that to cut through the darkness of the hearts of our enemies. We will be fully equipped with the armor of God to take on anything that comes our way. I'm ready. I feel it. I know it. It is profound how the legacy of one man can change things for the better. And I do think his legacy is going to change things for the better. And I'm excited to see what ultimately comes of that. Okay. So that was Erika's statement. And it was definitely profound. And I definitely wanted to make it a point to share with you guys. Now, I do want to give you and just pivot a little bit into some updates with the actual killer and kind of his living situation. So this is from the Daily Wire. Suspected Charlie Kirk killer reportedly lived with trans identifying partner. This is LGBT extremism. A lot more will be revealed soon, Daily Wire host Matt Walsh said. Tyler Robinson, the suspected killer of the popular conservative commentator Charlie Kirk, lived with a transgender identifying partner, according to reports. Robinson, who authorities arrested on Thursday night, lived with his transgender partner, Fox News report Brooke Singman posted on X, citing unnamed sources. The individual, who is a male transitioning to a female, so he was gay, is fully cooperating with the FBI. The Singman said of the suspected shooter's apparent degenerate partner. The Daily Wire Matt Walsh said he also confirmed the identity of Robinson's partner. I've independently confirmed that Charlie Kirk's assassin did in fact have a transgender boyfriend. This is LGBT extremism. A lot more will be revealed soon. The far right narrative is absolute BS, not even close to true. Don't fall for it. The revelation about Robinson's relationship has come after a torrent of evidence suggesting that the suspect is on the political left. And that much should be very clear now. All right. If you weren't convinced by the, hey, fascist catch etched onto the bullet casing, then I don't know what's going to convince you. But this is just more evidence to support that claim. because transgenderism is almost exclusively leftist. It is. So let's stop pretending. If you're somebody on the left, like, all you really got to do at this point is just say, like, we don't support that. We actually don't support violence, but they can't even bring themselves to say that. They're trying to flip the script, trying to blame the far right, trying to blame conservatives, instead of just saying, hey, we got a problem with violence on our side and we need to do something about it. Now, I'm not going to say all leftists, because there's definitely some of them, like Cenk Uygur and Gavin Newsom, that, condemned the violence and were appalled by what happened to Charlie. Some leftists that actually still have their humanity. And these are two individuals I largely disagree with on everything. But they could find it within themselves to actually acknowledge that this is wrong, that violence is wrong. All right. The revelation comes after a torrent of evidence, blah, 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 blah. GOP Governor Spencer Cox of Utah said on Saturday that the suspect was deeply indoctrinated with leftist ideology. And, some people are like, well, he came from a conservative family and this happened. Yeah, that makes it a whole lot worse. That he lived in an environment that fostered conservatism, but despite that, he spent all of his time on internet forums. He got radicalized. That's a problem. I hate to see what it does to people who are growing up with leftist families. The bullet casings in the suspected assassin's weapon had an anti-fascist slogans and phrases written on them, such as "Hey fascist, catch," and another included the lyrics from a famous Italian anti-fascist song called Bella Ciao. Family members told authorities that Robinson, a 22-year-old from Utah, had become increasingly political in recent years. The suspect disliked Kirk in particular. At a recent dinner, he spoke about how much he disliked and disagreed with Kirk, while mentioning that the conservative planned to visit Utah soon for an event at the Utah Valley University. Kirk, the founder of Turning Point USA, was assassinated in the Utah Valley event. On Friday, Cox said that the assassin's bullet that killed Kirk was also an attack on the fundamental values of the United States. It is. Yeah, absolutely right, Megan. College is a scam. And I'm somebody that went to college, and I chose a Christian school. So I do think, if you're going to go to college, it's probably your best bet. So I had a pretty good experience there, but I don't think it was worth what I paid for. And I think had I gone to a more liberal university, you may be looking at a different person. So I'm glad I chose wisely and went to a school that actually fostered, my spiritual growth and helped shape me in a lot of ways to becoming the man I am today. I had some really remarkable professors, but I think schools like that are the exception, not the rule. So I think for most people, college is a huge mistake. And especially if you're sending your kids to a liberal college. You can't put them in that environment 24/7 and expect them to come out unscathed. You are literally putting them in a situation where they are being brainwashed. And that cannot possibly have a good outcome. So this is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk, said Cox, but it's also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It's an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. And again, his statement was, incredible. You should watch the whole video because it was really profound. But in light of those new revelations, though, we can definitively conclude that the person that shot Charlie Kirk was a leftist. You didn't need to be a rocket scientist to put that together even before the evidence rolled in, because Charlie Kirk is one of the most outspoken conservatives in the move, or he was one of the most outspoken conservatives in the movement, and he was killed for it. We don't, conservatives don't make a habit of killing their own people. We don't do that. We don't kill anybody because we're nonviolent. We do not condone violence. And then no, Ethan, he was not a Republican. He grew up in a Republican family. That's true, but he himself was not a Republican. He was not registered Republican. He had progressive views. This is coming straight from the Governor Cox of Utah. Why do you have a Trump shirt on? Oh, well, that's AI generated. We can go back to the original image. We can look that up. I really challenge you to do that. Don't take my word for it. Go look it up for yourself. It is AI generated. He did not wear a Trump shirt. So I would be very skeptical of the media that you're consuming because they are lying to you. And it is 100% not true. But I challenge you, don't take my word for it. Go look it up. Go look up and find the original image. You could probably find it on Twitter, and it'll debunk that whole claim. He was not wearing a Trump shirt. He wasn't. You could see an image of him in a maroon shirt, and then you could see in a certain spot in his room, and then you could see that image. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Give me a second. Give me a hot second here, man, because I just want you to understand that you're being lied to. And I want you to know the truth. And I want you to take the people that are spreading these lies to task on it, because it's not right. And I also challenge you to verify. And I will say this too: it's not even just leftists that are doing this. I've seen photoshopped images coming from the right, making it seem like he's a different person. So I've seen that too. The picture looked blurry, so I thought it was real. Okay, so give me 1 second here. Tyler Robinson. Here we go. This is the first thing that popped up, actually. Oh, wait. I lost it. I hate Twitter sometimes. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to show you the original image. Here it is. This is the original image. This is him in his room. All right, now here's the photoshopped image, or the AI image. All right, so that's him in his room, same stance. And look, this has a community note, all right? So this image is digitally altered. So it's fake, so you were lied to. And that's the original photo as suspected, which was linked in the community note. So they are lying to you, my friend, and I want you to be aware that we are not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you, and be a little bit more diligent. And just to show you too that I'm not biased, because they do this on the right too, and I don't like it. It muddies the water. So here's another one which is coming from a right winger. How interesting that everybody's sharing the photo on the left as a way to label the shooter conservative, but completely forgetting about the more recent one. So they're alleging that this is him. These photos are not, but the community note says these photos are not the same person. Tyler Robinson is shown in a bedroom and Skyfall is on a roadway. So they're not the same person. So yeah, you have been bamboozled, but eat that humble pie, man, and try your best to just try to fact check things and don't believe every single thing that you see. And I think that'll be the best. And I'm preaching to myself too, man. I gotta, make sure that I don't fall for anything and take some of these images with a grain of salt, try to look for sources. to see where these images ultimately came from before buying into them. Okay, there's a couple things I also want to cover. So this guy, I'm going to play you a video of a man that is honoring Kirk in the UK. I've seen him talk about, I believe I've seen videos of him before talking about the strength of Christianity. And I just wanted to play this video. Excuse me, and we'll talk about it a little bit.
Stands in the legacy of Charlie Kirk. He stood on a platform of civil discourse, and we cannot stop to continue that civil discourse when our opposition will not meet us on the tent, but rather shoot at us. I have done stands at Camden Town, and whenever you do a stand, you potentially consent to your political opposition being the thing by which you die by. And I guarantee you, I have seen the United Kingdom, the radical left have been persecuting the conservatives who have one clear message. We want to conserve our culture and our heritage. We will not import a culture that killed Charlie Kirk. We will continue in civil discourse. We will continue his work. We will pick up the megaphones, the microphones, the stands.
Yes.
They won't be able to move our minds by an inch, because I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, I will continue to speak up at university campuses. I will continue to speak up.
Yeah, come on. Amen. He was a Christian man. I don't know what to tell you. He definitely was, though. He believed in Jesus. He walked out his faith. He practiced it. He embodied it. Hey, you can doubt my faith all you want, man. I don't answer to you. I answer to God, and I feel quite confident that my faith is authentic. No, I'm not idolizing him. Idolatry is worshiping somebody else, and I'm not doing that. I'm honoring Charlie Kirk. I'm revering the stand that he made for the gospel, because it is a beautiful thing. Just like I am inspired and moved by all the martyrs throughout Christian history. I'm inspired by Stephen, one of the first martyrs. I'm inspired by John Chow, who gave his life to reach the Sentinelese people in 2018. He did talk about the gospel. I would challenge you to watch some Charlie Kirk. Anyway, I want to get into this topic or cover this segment of Ben Shapiro on Bill Maher. I do think it is interesting and definitely worth having a conversation about.
That's always such a silly argument, because if God wrote the book, how could there be things we don't agree with? It either got to be perfect because it's written by you-know-who, or it's just not perfect and written by people, which it was, obviously, and it's full of nonsense and wickedness and things that are everything but virtuous.
So, Bill, you and I agree on morality. I'd say like 87%.
Morality,
87.5%.
but not from the Bible.
I have a question. Why?
Because it's for slavery. Because it's okay with slavery.
Why do you and I agree on morality like 87.5%? I'm a religious Jew. You're an atheist. Why do we agree on those things? I'll tell you. I mean, I can give you my answer.
Yeah, please.
Because we probably grew up a few miles from each other in a Western society that has several thousand years of biblical history behind it. And so you can think that you hit that triple and you formed your own morality, but the reality is you were born morally on third base.
No, okay.
He got him. He definitely got him too. It's like, yeah, if your morality isn't informed by the Bible, then what is it informed of? And how and why should I take you seriously on on your morality? Because if it's not coming from God, well, then what authority are you appealing to? Where does it come from? The government? So now I'm supposed to trust what man decides is moral and immoral? They have nothing to appeal to. No authority to appeal to. He sits there and says something is wicked. Well, define for me wicked. Define for me what is good. Define for me what is evil. How do you do that without the Bible? You know, your feelings? Feelings are subjective. They can change. Some people can feel totally justified in doing incredibly evil things. So that alone is not a good argument. No, you need to answer to a higher authority. And that authority is Jesus Christ. And the Bible is how we discern what is good and what is evil. And we understand that sin, according to the Bible, 1 John 3 is transgression of God's law. That is what sin is. That is what evil is. And righteousness is the commandments of God. That is what it means to do good. Jesus says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. His commandments are good. They are not burdensome. And I recommend getting familiar with them, because if you want to be a good person, then you should be, keeping God's commandments. If you want to love Jesus, that's what you need to be doing. So, yeah, he did make a fool of Bill Maher there, for sure. Bill Maher did not do well. Oh, speaking of, so I think this is awesome, by the way. So first thing I want to talk about this idea. So, for a long time when the left were canceling people on the right, they were talking about it being consequence culture. Well, I'd like to introduce you to consequence culture, because this site exposed Charlie's murderers. It created a searchable database of over 20,000 individuals celebrating Charlie Kirk's murder. Will soon be available on our website. It will be searchable by general location, employer, and industry type. Political violence can never be the answer. So we are creating a database to just get people fired for gleefully, jubilantly celebrating the death of a man. And I'm here for that, man. I am here for that. I got a video of somebody that allegedly got fired.
I made some stupid comments about Charlie Kirk on the day that he was shot. I said some things on Blue Sky and on Threads that I'm sorry, not sorry for, but I said them and I deleted them when it was requested that I do so by my employer. And then today on a weekend, I'm told that I am no longer employed at Microsoft. After 6 years, building the diversity, equity, and inclusion department from scratch, I lose my job because one of you, some random person, reports my posts to my employer, goes out of their way to find out where I work and takes my job, takes my security away from me for a thought, for an opinion. And you talk about freedom of speech like you care about it. And you're just going to take my money, my life, my food off my plate because I don't like Charlie Kirk? That's not okay. It is not okay to target me because I felt joy that day. I can't help how I feel. I felt joy. That's me. That's what I believe. That's what I think of him. I can't help that. So I don't deserve a job?
No, actually you don't. I would even, let's talk about, let's unpack this for a second, all right? So if you're the type of person that would celebrate a man being shot in the neck, that speaks volumes to the type of character that you have. Why would I want to employ somebody like that? You're like, what type of person does that? Like, I don't want to know. Absolutely not. So you deserved everything that happened to you. Every single thing that happened to you was you brought upon yourself. You know, and there's lots of things too, by the way, that we can do. Hey, wait. I thought somebody popped up in the chat on my other streams, but yeah, freedom of speech doesn't equate to freedom of consequences. You wanna screw around and say something stupid, it's gonna result in some negative consequences happening in your life. Sorry, it is what it is. So we have another report too by the Daily Wire. So dozens fired over response to Charlie Kirk's assassination. The secret agent who publicly said Charlie Kirk deserved to be killed has officially been placed on leave. That's scary. All right, that is alarming. That this was somebody employed by the Trump administration. I would be alarmed if I was the president and somebody expressed that. I would be very concerned having somebody like that around my corner. And I'm like, no, nope. The response from the left to the assassination of conservative commentator and Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk has been nothing short of sickening. They have justified and even celebrated his death. And some of them, the first couple days I was doing this, were in my comments right here. I saw some friends from high school doing it too. I'm my tolerance for this type of stuff is like 0 right now. So you make excuses, you defend this stuff. I just don't want anything to do with you. And you're better off without people like that in your life. So might be best just to cut them off, pray for them, and keep it moving, because we should not have anything to do with people like that. There's no benefit that comes from it. And some have began to face consequences for their actions. MSNBC's Matthew Dowd was the first domino to fall after he essentially argued during a live coverage of the assassination of Kirk had encouraged the politically motivated violence that claimed his life. Let's see. I think we need this to heal a little bit, to be honest with you. It's been a rough week.
But following up what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions.
What? So because we say things you disagree with, that means we deserve to die? Are you freaking out of your mind, man? Like that is crazy town. And I've said this before, like, there are leftists that say and do some really repulsive, evil things. You know, people like Hassan Piker and Destiny. I don't like them at all. I think they're bad people. I do. But if the same thing happened to them, you would not see me rejoicing. You would not see me celebrating. I would just be quiet. I just wouldn't say anything. I would, denounce using violence against them, because I think that's wrong and evil. And I would move on. I would not celebrate and gleefully rub it in the faces of people who loved him that he's dead. I wouldn't do that, because it's wrong. Following Dowd's ouster, MSNBC sent a letter to all employees urging them to do better. Matthew Faldy reported a letter was sent to all MSNBC staff admonishing them and saying they need to do better following Dowd's firing for this heinous comment about Charlie Kirk. An Office Depot employee was also terminated over the weekend. Oh, man. We are deeply concerned by the incident that occurred at store 3382 in Portage, Michigan. The behavior displayed by our associate is completely unacceptable and insensitive, violates our company policy, and does not reflect the values we uphold at Office Depot. We sincerely apologize to the customer affected and to our community for this regrettable situation. Upon learning the incident, we immediately reached out to the customer and addressed their concerns and seek to fulfill their order to their satisfaction. Oh yeah, I think I saw a video of this where they weren't printing out these Charlie Kirk posters. Yeah. So yeah, over the weekend they were refusing to print a poster of Kirk for a praying vigil, telling members of the group mission forward that the poster was political propaganda. Yes, yeah, these people are demons, man. And this is from Nick Sorto. The Secret Service agent who publicly said Charlie Kirk deserved to be killed has officially been fired and placed on leave, expected to be imminently fired per DHS. Peace. Yeah, and imagine having somebody like this working for the Department of Homeland Security. Get out of here. No way. Adios, amigo. So I do think this is good, and I'm happy to see these guys go, and I think they're bringing on themselves. I do not think we should be celebrating the death of people. It's wrong. I don't condone it. I don't like it, and I'm glad that it's that it's happening. Right. Let's see here. I think that's probably about it for the night, unless you guys have anything that I need to be aware of or cover. I think we hit all the bases. Now, I do want to let those of you watching, know that if you ever need prayer for anything, or you have biblical questions or anything like that, I have a background in theology. Not that I'm saying that doesn't really mean anything, but I do. I went to school to study theology and ministry and leadership. I spent a lot of time reading my Bible. I'm not claiming to be an expert or a profound theologian, but I can answer most questions, at least to the best of my ability. And if I don't know the answers, if you're genuinely struggling with understanding something in Scripture, I'll help you seek that out. Oh, one more thing I did want to cover, because I do think this is important, since we're on the subject of theology. There's a couple videos. No. Charlie moments. Give me 1 second. I gotta find it. Okay. So this is the last book that Charlie ever published, and it's going to come out in December. And it's titled Stop in the Name of God, Why Honoring the Sabbath Will Transform Your Life. So I highly, highly, highly recommend picking up this book. I'm going to order it for sure. And I am somebody that has been observing the Sabbath for about 5 years now. And I can personally attest that it is transformative. If you thought your relationship with God is deep, it'll take you that much more deeper. I believe when God hallowed the Sabbath and set it apart and made it holy, it is really holy. And it's something that I encourage you to seek out. We have a crazy, crazy world, and there is a lot of demand on our time. We work hard, and God set aside a day specifically for us to rest. And he commanded us to remember the Sabbath. And it is the one commandment that I do believe we have all forgot. And it's the one commandment he tells us explicitly to remember. So I highly encourage you to rest on the Sabbath. And Megan, that is awesome. Yes, go to church. That is great. That is awesome. I'm very happy for you. And I hope and pray that you have a great experience. And let me know how it goes, because I'm genuinely curious. That's awesome. So definitely get plugged in. Definitely draw close to God, because we're going to need him in these times. We're going to need to know the word and know who he is and to walk with him. And you're going to be surprised in the way that he shows up in your life. So I'm very excited for you. That's awesome. So with that said, though, rest. Take a day to rest. And just don't do any work. Spend time in scriptures, spend time with your family, and just take a break from all the noise of the world, because it is crazy. It is crazy. And it's going to get crazier too, by the way. Yeah, this changed me. You got a new follower. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that. Sincerely, that's awesome. Yeah, I go live too every Tuesday through Saturday at 9 p.m. And I cover news, politics, culture, all that stuff. I love it. It's something I'm very passionate about. Faith being the lens in which I cover all this. My chief goal in life is to help draw people closer to God and share the gospel. That is what I'm about. That's my mission. And that's been my mission since I've been 18 years old, is to share his love, spread his love like fire throughout this world. And that's what I aim to do. So I do appreciate the support. And for those of you watching on Rumble and Kick and Twitch and all those platforms, I appreciate you guys too. You're awesome. You're rock stars. I could not do this without you. And thank you for tuning in tonight. Now I'm going to go spend some time with my beautiful wife. And tomorrow I will be enjoying a very lovely anniversary with her. And I hope you guys have a blessed weekend. Meg, I hope you enjoy your time at church. I think you're going to love it. All right, guys. Have a blessed night. Deuces.